Welcome to Asian ID. Have you ever watched a love story unfold so slowly that by the time it blooms, the tears have already dried when a character says that 11 years of secret love can exhaust every tear? Don't we feel the weight of something deeper than heartbreak, and when that trembling silence is brought to life by Zhai, Yiying and Shen Haonan and secret love turns into marriage, doesn't it feel less like fiction and more like a memory we never dared to revisit at first glance? Didn't it seem like just another short drama wrapped in familiar tropes? A contract marriage, it's dear romance, a predictable push and pull. Haven't we seen these patterns so many times that we almost stop expecting anything new? So why, as the story unfolds, do those expectations quietly fall apart? Is it because beneath the surface, this story is not about love alone, but about time, choice, and the invisible cost of chasing something as fragile as affection? When the narrative shifts from sweet exchanges to the harsh reality of data, rankings, and fleeting popularity, doesn't it reveal a truth far more unsettling? Is love still pure when it must survive inside a system that measures everything, or is the final image, quiet and almost understated, carrying the weight of everything they had endured when they smile at each other beneath the umbrella? Are we witnessing happiness, or the relief of finally no longer hiding the red carpet scene? Wasn't it more than just a moment of glamour when they instinctively avoided each other, despite everything they felt? Didn't that hesitation say more than any confession ever could? Isn't it strange how distance sometimes reveals intimacy more clearly than closeness? And then came the small moment, the passing of a cup of tea, so ordinary, yet so heavy with history. Didn't it feel like the true climax of the story when Shen Haonan hesitated? Haunted by past misunderstandings, wasn't that hesitation the echo of every unsaid word between them? And when he finally reached out, wasn't it not just a gesture, but a quiet act of courage? How many relationships fail not because of lack of love, but because of fear, timing, and pride? Many moments pass, unnoticed, that could have changed everything if only someone had chosen differently. The brilliance of this story lies not in dramatic twists, but in restraint, doesn't it? There are no exaggerated betrayals, no forced conflicts, no unnecessary villains, only life, unfolding with all its imperfections and quiet beauty. Isn't it harder to tell a story where nothing explodes, yet everything changes? And what about the characters surrounding them, the called spectators of this era? Don't they form a mirror of the world itself, where ambition, jealousy, and survival intertwine when algorithms, trends, and public opinion shape destinies? Doesn't it feel like the story is speaking not just about a fictional world, but about ours? Isn't that why the so-called antagonists feel so real? Not because they are evil, but because they are human. When people chase advantage, manipulate perception, or cling to power, are they villains, or simply reflections of a system that rewards such behavior? And yet, amidst all this, the story chooses to remain gentle, doesn't it? Instead of drowning in cynicism, it offers something quieter, a belief that sincerity, though fragile, can endure. Isn't that belief what makes the ending feel earned rather than convenient? The romance itself, described as practical yet pure, feels almost contradictory, doesn't it? How can something begin with calculation and still grow into something genuine? And isn't the paradox exactly what makes it believable? When love is hidden in everyday actions, sharing meals, solving problems, enduring ship, doesn't it become stronger than grand declarations? Isn't true intimacy built not on passion alone, but on persistence? Looking at the performances, don't they elevate the story beyond its structure? When Hae-in portrays a woman who is both clear-headed and resilient, doesn't she quietly break the stereotype of passive femininity? And when Shen Haonan embodies a man who creates small miracles in an imperfect world, doesn't he redefine what romance can look like? Their chemistry, refined over multiple collaborations, feels less like performance and more like understanding, doesn't it? Is that why every glance, every pause, every silence between them feels intentional rather than scripted? But beyond the romance, doesn't the story leave us with something larger in a rapidly changing world where everything is measured, optimized, and accelerated? What does it mean to hold on to something as slow and uncertain as love? Is purity something we are born with, or something we choose to protect despite everything we learn along the way? And when the final scene fades, leaving behind only the echo of their journey, aren't we left with a question that lingers far longer than the story itself? If you had loved someone for 11 years in silence, would you still have the courage to reach out, or would you, like so many others, simply learn to live without ever knowing what might have been? Thank you for watching the video. See you again.